Hello everyone, welcome back to the Blue Who Review. So today I'm going to be ranking every episode under the new RTD2 era so far. Now I was originally just going to do season 1, but I thought bulk it up a bit and include the 60th anniversary as well. I also thought I'd make it on Tiermaker because that's what everyone seems to be doing at the moment, so I thought I'd just jump on that bandwagon and give it a go, which I'm certainly looking forward to. So without no further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, starting with the 60th anniversary, of course, we'll go in chronological order. We'll start with the Star Beast, and that is going straight into awful. Very bad start. But it was a very bad start for me for the RTD2 era. There was a lot of things I didn't like about it. For example, I didn't like how easily Donna remembered, and I didn't like how it rewrit her sad ending in season 4. I didn't like how the 14th Doctor was back and why he was the 14th Doctor. It didn't make sense to me at the time. Still doesn't, to be honest. I didn't like the meek pronoun scene. I thought forcing that on an alien was a bit silly. A human is understandable, but you wouldn't do that to a Dalek, for example. So that seemed very silly. And I didn't really agree with the Dr. Donna thing, binary, non-binary. Just that felt a bit forced as well. So I didn't feel like a lot of things were handled well in this one. Yes, the Meep and the Wayfarers were cool, but they weren't an original concept or design. So it has to go in awful because I just didn't enjoy it, and it really set me on a bad foot for this new RTD2 era. Now, saying that, moving on to Wild Blue Yonder, that would have to go straight into perfect because, except the Mavity joke, which I think is a bit silly and has been forgotten, it was a very good episode. My favourite bit was probably when Donna gets left behind and the no thing Donna actually gets taken on the TARDIS. That was so thrilling and edge of your seat moment. I absolutely love that. So that has to go in perfect for me because it was just such an enjoyable episode. Unlike Doctor Who before anything it's ever done before, it was just absolutely amazing and it was just so enjoyable and I absolutely loved it. So it has to go into that. And speaking of Mavity, it feels like that's been forgotten. It was mentioned in the Church on Ruby Road and I don't think it's been mentioned since. What's going on with that? Who knows? But apart from that, Wild Blue Yonder was absolutely perfect. Then you get something like The Giggle, which was great up until Bi-Generation. If it wasn't for the Bi-Generation, I would have probably put it in great. Or possibly even perfect. I would have had to debate between the two. But the Bi-Generation was just such a downer, it's going to drop all the way down to bad. Not awful, because like I said, The Giggle was enjoyable. The episode part before the Bi-Generation, but after that it wasn't enjoyable because I don't agree with how the 14th Doctor has sort of survived it. I don't agree how the 14th Doctor is still on Earth. I don't like how the TARDIS is split. Does that mean there's two Sutecs? Why did they do it if they didn't let Rose and the Metacrisis Doctor have one in the parallel universe? Again, a lot of things I don't agree with, so it really has dragged it down. It was great to see the Toymaker, but it just wasn't that great, unfortunately. So it has to go in bad, to be honest. The 60th anniversary in general was good-ish, I would say. It wasn't what I was expecting. It was a lot worse, to be honest. I bonded with Donna a lot more in it, but apart from that, and bringing back the Toymaker and Wild Blue Yonder, but apart from that, I didn't really enjoy anything about it, which was a shame. Yeah, bit of a disappointment, to be honest. But yeah, and the 15th Doctor as well, this really gave me a bad first impression like the Star Beast did with the new era because I didn't like how the 15th Doctor was in this episode. He improves as time goes on, luckily for me, but I just didn't like it, so it really set me off as a bad foot for the Christmas special and season 1. Now, talking of the Christmas special, it was a vast improvement on the 60th anniversary, I thought, in general. There were some things I still didn't agree with, like the Doctor dancing in the club. That didn't feel very doctory and still doesn't for me. So I'm going to have to put the Church of Ruby Road, despite not having watched it for quite a while, I'm going to put it in great. Because it wasn't perfect, but it was enjoyable. The Goblin song and the Goblins and the introduction to Ruby and everything. It was an enjoyable episode. And I remember finishing the episode and watching the season 1 trailer and being so excited for the series to come. So I was really, really glad with it. So it did set me on a good first step for the new series. So it has to go in great because it was enjoyable and it set me on a right foot for it. So I'm really pleased about that. Now moving on to season 1, the Space Babies. It's very difficult, this one, because I always associate the Space Babies and the Devil's Cord as a one because obviously we had them together. But trying to split up, the Space Babies was good. There were some really great scenes in it. I felt like it was very Cosmic Joyride vibe, which I thought they really sold with the first 2 episodes. the it was really great. There was the bogeyman scene, which I really enjoyed, the chase with that, and Ruby obviously stepping on a butterfly and actually seeing what happens. That was really cool. Reference back to Bill and Martha, of course, but it wasn't, as you probably would agree, it wasn't the best ever. So I'm going to put it in great, because it wasn't, it was better than okay, but it wasn't perfect. So I'm going to have to put it in great. Moving on to something which I would say was perfect, was The Devil's Chord. Now, this one, the thing is, it was very good. You had Maestro, which I thought was great casting as, Jinx Monsoon was great casting as Maestro. I love the scene where they're sort of dancing around the studio, down the TARDIS, sorry, with the music, when it was like purple as well. I really loved the purple colour of the TARDIS inside the episode, but I loved how they were dancing down it. I loved when they went to the modern day and it was all destroyed. I loved how the Maestro was a child of the Toymaker. I thought the musical scene at the end was actually quite good. I don't like musicals, but I thought that was actually quite enjoyable. So it did really exceed my expectations, so it has to go in perfect, because it is such a thrilling episode, and it really was a Cosmic Joyride vibe. I feel that was a shame, because after The Devil's Chord, I feel there wasn't so much of that. I don't feel like there was the sort of Cosmic Joyride vibe after that, which was a shame. But that one definitely did feel like it, and it set me off. Again, a great foot for the future episodes. It's just a shame that the next one disappointed me. And of course the next one was Boom, and a lot of people would probably put it up here, maybe here, probably here. I'm not putting it there. I'm not putting it there. I'm not going to put it there. I'm not even going to put it there. I'm going to put it straight there. I thought it was boring, to be honest. See, people are quick to judge, for example, 42 by Chris Chibnall, but that episode was made because they had limited budget, limited time. They could only really use one set, and I thought they did well with that episode. Here, I don't even think they had that excuse, yet they still did this episode where it was like one place. It's just a bit of a boring concept for a whole episode. I get what they were trying to do, but it was a bit boring. You did have thrilling scenes, like, for example, when Ruby dies, and I thought the cold opening was quite cool. But apart from that, it just was a bit boring. It improves over time like the Star Beast did, but it's still, once you get that first impression, it sort of sticks with you. So it is a bit boring at times, so it has to stay in awful. Luckily, the next episode exceeded expectations again, like The Devil's Chord, and that one has to go straight up here. It wasn't what everyone was expecting. I feel like it wasn't, which was quite good. It wasn't sort of a Welsh folk horror lore thing. It's a bit difficult to actually explain. It was quite an unusual episode, but it was good in its own way, because I liked how it was going to be like Rose, where you had Ruby, who was with Kate in the year's time in 2025, and I thought, okay, so the series is going to continue from 2025, and then Ruby gets older and older and older, and I just feel like it's something that Doctor Who hasn't really done before. So I really did like it, and it does leave you a lot of questions, but then you come to realise that's the whole point of the episode, and it did keep people talking, which I suppose is the actual main point. So it was a great episode, and it revolved around Ruby, which I really loved, so it has to go in perfect for me. Then you get Dot and Bubble, which actually could have been imperfect if it wasn't for the actual being too much in the bubble. I would say that's the biggest down point about it. So because it was too much in the bubble, it will have to go into great. I really like the colour schemes of the episode. I like the actual bubble itself. I thought that was really cool. I just feel like there was too much time in it. And I would have loved to see Lindy as a companion, obviously, before we find out what she actually is like. But it would have been cool to see as a companion before how she was. But I loved how there was those surprises, like how she got Ricky September killed, and then also it turned out she was racist. I thought that was really cool. Nice twist that I wasn't expecting. So, much better than okay, but unfortunately, just because there was too much time in the bubble, it can't go up there with the other perfect episodes, unfortunately. Then we move on to Rogue, which I actually rated 10 out of 10 for my review. So of course, and I don't disagree, it has to go up in perfect. I love this one. I think a lot of people suspected it would probably be like a just standard episode, people in prosthetics, chasing monsters, just standard historical, but actually I think it exceeded a lot of people's expectations. I think the relationship between the Doctor and Rogue was not forced. It felt very real. It felt very sad. I loved the Cholders and how they were cosplayers. I thought that was a great reference to Doctor Who fans. So there is a lot that I would say probably is good about this one. Yeah, it's just a 10 out of 10 for me, and it's just a lot I love about it. I thought some of the actual look of the episode itself looked absolutely incredible. Just a really great episode, and all of it just looks some of the best I've ever seen in Doctor Who. Some of the shots and everything, the visuals, so it has to go in perfect for me. And sticking with perfect, then you get The Legend of Ruby Sunday. This one again will have to go into perfect because it had me on the edge of my seat for the entire episode. You had stuff like where it mentioned Susan, his granddaughter. Then you had stuff like trying to find out who Ruby's mum was in the time window, then the build up to who was coming back, Sutek of course after 49 years, and then it gave us one of the best cliffhangers ever in Doctor Who, I feel, so it has to go in perfect as well. It was just such a phenomenal episode, and it did leave you with high expectations for the Empire of Death, and I think a lot of people would agree that it did disappoint, unfortunately. Now, it had the potential to be up there, maybe even there, but really it has to go down there, awful, because it was a big disappointment, whether that be scenes like with that woman in that tent which dragged the second time you watch, or whether that be not much appearance of actual Sutek himself, or whether that be Sutek wanting to find out who Ruby's mum was even though she was ordinary and he was the god of death and wants everything destroyed. Why didn't he bother just destroying everything? Why did he want to know? Or stuff like, this is where actually I sort of realised that the 15th Doctor is a bit too emotional. Scenes like in Dot and Bubble, of course, completely justified, but I just feel like it's written a bit too much, at least once into every episode. It just takes away from the emotion for the audience, so I just feel like there's a bit too much emotionalness from him, which I feel like they need to improve in the next series. Hopefully they do. So there was a lot I didn't like, even stuff like a little nitpick like the bottom of the TARDIS in the time vortex. I didn't like that. Or stuff like Sutek in the actual vortex being destroyed by it. Yes, he's probably protected by the TARDIS shields, but surely he would have built up immunity, so how comes dragging him through the vortex destroyed him? Yeah, it's a cool scene, but a lot of things don't make sense. I liked Sutek's Angels of Death, but again, it's just, there was a lot wrong with it, and it really did put us on a bad step, I feel, for the Christmas special and for season 2. And the worst thing of all for me about this episode was the fact that they got rid of Ruby, because I really do enjoy Ruby's character. I feel like we haven't seen enough of her. We get 8 episodes, and then you get episodes like Boom, where it's mainly focused on the Doctor, and then Ruby's dead for quite a large chunk of it. Then you get stuff like 73 Yards, where it just revolves around Ruby. Then you get episodes like Dot and Bubble straight after, which is sort of like not much of the 15th Doctor and Ruby. Then you get stuff like Rogue, which is the Doctor and Ruby but separated. So they're sold as best friends, which I can believe, but we just don't see too much of it. And now it seems Ruby's going to be sort of be taking a back seat now, which is such a shame, because it doesn't look like she's going to be in the Christmas special, and then it feels like she's going to play a smaller part in the next series. And then also I feel like we need a lot more time with Ruby, but they're adding another companion on as well, Verada, so it doesn't make sense to me. So a lot of things that I wasn't pleased with the Empire of Death, to be honest. And yeah, so it wasn't amazing really. Talking about Joy to the World, the Christmas special at the end of this year, considering Stephen, I do really like Stephen Moffat, and I do like his writing, I do like his standalone episodes, but considering how Boom was, and considering Ruby's not going to be in it, I'm going to predict it's going to be somewhere around this section. Okay, it could be the first to break into the okay section, could be bad. I don't want to say it could be awful because we haven't even seen it yet, we don't even know what's going on, but I'm going to predict somewhere around there, because I'm just not too sure, to be honest. And also, just quickly going back to Boom while we're on Stephen Moffat, considering we could have had the Silence return, which is like the last iconic villain we've had in Doctor Who, it's just such a shame. So I really am disappointed that he went with that for Boom. So yeah, so the series in general, or the RTD2 era so far, as you can see, on the whole is very positive, but then you do get episodes which do drag it down, especially the 60th anniversary. 2 out of the 3 were quite low, so that wasn't amazing really, even though it included the David Tennant and the Catherine Tate, but there we are. But that's sort of my ranking of it. What I'd love to know is what you guys think. Where would you rank all these episodes? Do you agree with it, or are there some episodes which you think deserve to be in opposite places? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Slightly different to what I normally do, but I do definitely want to do some more of these in the future. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully see you in my next video soon. Thank you all for watching, and take care.